Hello, people. This is Palmer. Um, Quick recap for what I did on Friday. For those of you that are, checking me out every once in a while on Profitly or think I'm an idiot for doing this or whatever. But I hope I'm doing this to help maybe somebody that's just trying to get going. And as far as the manual goes, that's what that's going to be about. Is if you're trying to put a plan together, if you're having some trouble, I'm hoping that will maybe help jumpstart a few people. It's from the ground up. If you've been trading for 5 years successfully or whatever, you don't need to look at this. But if you're, as far as the manual goes, but if you need a little help, this hopefully will give you that help. So, um, but for that's got maybe towards the end of this month, I'm hoping to be done with it. So, but for Friday, I'm gonna start off with my stupid trade. This was this screen. This was BIOC, and it had earnings after market. This is the first time I ever did this, and it was a 200 share trade. It was stupid. I put it in the Profitly blog as stupid because earnings came out. I didn't even read it, and price shot up, and I'm like, okay, they're good. So I bought 200 shares, and I was hoping for a spike next morning to get out. If it was going to be good and run here, then stall, that was where I was going to get out. But it opens Monday, it tanks. I mean, I think I lost like 50 or 60 bucks, but that's pretty significant in the whole scheme of things because I think I had like a $200 trade that I'll go over, and that's 25% of that $200 profit from a stupid trade that got taken away. So net, 150 on that trade. And that's just dumb doing stuff like this. So I don't recommend it. I'm probably never going to do it again. So, um, but it was a low, it was 200 shares. And that was the reason I only went 200 because I didn't know, but it was, I want to be over that stuff. So, this is the trade that really irritated me because, I had, I'm, I'm with Interactive Brokers now, and my default was still set at 100 shares, and the limit doesn't float with the price. It doesn't change with the price. And I had a buy in here at like 773 limit because if you've been following this stock, it's had really good news and it's been moving. And if you've been living under a rock, that's the only way you don't know about this. But when you have a move like this on good news and you have a good earnings report, these are the ones that can take off in the morning. Buying in the morning is difficult, but when it's got good earnings they were pretty kick-ass as far as the revenues go. So, but either way, my order entry form was wrong in Interactive Brokers, and I tried to get in a little later, and still it was only 100 shares because I still didn't change the default, and it started coming back, and I was pissed off. And I missed this whole run because once this happened, it just took my rhythm out of this whole ticker. And I didn't want to follow it because I was just thrown off. And these are the ones that make you feel like this, that make you want to do that, make you want to drink. And so I just took this off, and this would have been nice. This would have been easy re-entries. I'm like, why didn't you re-enter after just saying that? And I'm like, because I was so turned off right here because I got in late and it was a bad fill on 100 shares, and I was just pissed, and I didn't want to deal with it anymore. So I just took that off the table, and this would have been a very nice trade. This would have been an easy one to follow, to move stops up, even hard stops or whatever, because it was moving so well on the revenue. But I was also following Gern. Can you imagine if your stock price was named Gern, Gern? But that's the way it goes sometimes. So, but this was an earnings winner, and you can dip buy on longer term support and resistance lines, but you can look for them intraday also, where they're hard lines. And this was the previous day. Earnings came out. This is Thursday afternoon. This is the open. Why didn't you buy here? Well, because of this resistance point here and this resistance point here, price made it up to that. Let me zoom in, and it just nails it. It can't go anywhere. I mean, why should it stop there? Why in the hell would it stop right there? It's because there's a reason. It's, it's not going to get through it. Why didn't you buy? I mean, we had selling at the open. First tick was selling, and for me, I don't like to see that. I'd like to see all green. What did, let's go back to Erie. And Erie was, little blip, but then look at that. Okay, it took off, and it took out the pre-market high. This is very insignificant compared to the volume that came in afterwards. And going back to Gurn, you have some buying, but it's not more than the selling that was going on. So that I stayed away from it. That's the only reason. But here we had pullback to the support area, and I look at support as areas and resistance as areas and not exact numbers. Sometimes they nail it right at the same line. Usually it's a round number, or it can be a round number. But when we drifted back to this 360 level, this is where I started paying attention, and the the selling kind of dried up a little bit, and it started ticking back up really slowly. And I think I got in late, if you ask me. I got in at 372, and this was where was this breakout? This was a long term. This goes back to, this is September of last year, where this 382 was, and you can see it bounced, and I got out. I think I got out right at 382. It's in the trade. Loaded up the trades this morning, but it was cool. And again, this was a 600 share trade. I'm not going in very heavy because I'm still trying to nail down these earnings dip buys before I start going in heavier. So this was 600 shares. And so I just took the whole 600 off. If this was a 2,000 share trade, I would have taken maybe half off in this area and moved this stop up just to a little bit break even past the entry and just let it go to see what happens. These are the ones that can really run on you. But in Gurn, I believe it had a 22% short float. So this, I was thinking, this might just squeeze, but it kind of stalled. Just because there's a short float doesn't merely mean that things have to squeeze towards the end of the day. I mean, stocks can do whatever they want. The volume on this, what was that volume? I mean, how many we got? It had pretty good volume. And this is surprising to me because it's had a pretty good run and it's got 22% short float. There was a little bit of a bump here, but 15 cents or so getting past this resistance point. But either way, it was a 600 share, so I just took it all off. The CSTM trade. Here we go. How much did I start? I got in this. This was a range breakout. This had what were the earnings? The estimate actual. I think their revenues were a lot better than their earnings were, and that's where the news was coming in. And people were talking. I didn't have this on my screen the night before or before the market opened. This is the market open on Friday. There was no pre-market action at all. But people in the chat room were talking about it, and I took a look at it, and I think it was already in this area. And just wasn't tuned into it. But when it started ranging, and I think I mentioned this in another video, when you have these market surges and then they start ranging, that's where I start looking for, and it happened the previous day also. I looked at these volume, spikes to come in, and that's telling me a pretty solid breakout, and that's all it was. I was paying attention to the level 2 also, and on this one I got in, I think I actually bought in back here somewhere because I thought it was going to break out, but it held. I mean, if you look at this range, there's not a whole lot of selling going on at this support level or anywhere within there. There's more buying than there is selling, but price isn't really getting out. And the thing about this was there was only about a 4% short float on this, so if it's going to spike, it's not going to spike that much. But this actually made a better move than Gurn did, even though its short float was only 4%. So I got in here, or I got in here. I have to check the time. But either way, it was the volume that perked my interest because it's in this range and there's not a lot of selling. It breaks out, and these are the trades that make you not want to drink, but they make you feel like this. So that's the way I felt after that, and after that stupid buyout trade and missing that Erie trade. But so that's what I did for Friday. You know, it was a little bit of work. I made, I think, $200, but that stupid buyout trade, like I said, it was a stupid play, and it took away 25% of the profits. Did I say 50 earlier? Probably. And that's significant. And so when you pay for your stupidity. The ACRX, did I get rid of that chart? I'm going to bring that back up here. ACRX, when I was, for the intraday plays, you know, this was Friday, and it's had good news. And even though this might not look like a lot, but let me get back to Friday. This is Friday. Here's the open, and it's good. It's an earnings winner also. But this was the open. Come on. And there was a crappy, you know, there was no buying at all. It tanked from the open. It came back to support. The volume wasn't the greatest, but I think there was another, yeah, there were these. This was, I had this plotted on a different chart, but I see that as a support area. This is significant. Why did it bounce there at 450? Because probably it's 450. So later in the day, it gets through it, or approaches it, and it breaks through it. I mean, that's 450. That's 20 cents, okay? And 20 cents on a $4 stock. If you don't want it, I'll take it. If you would have noticed this, you probably could have seen level 2 getting a lot stronger, and all these green prints coming in. Again, these intraday bounces, they're worth it also. And another thing, as far as a cool thing about Interactive Brokers, what they have is that you can go into your chart or your account, and you'll plot your performance against the S&P 500. This is my account number. You know, this is my beginning balance or whatever in deposits and withdrawals. So I've got that hidden. But either way, this is me right here. Okay, and this is the S&P 500. And you know, I started trading within this account on October 26th because I switched over. And so about 2 weeks, that's almost 5%. And that's not too bad in 2 weeks. So, and the S&P has been doing really well also, but get ready for that to turn down because we're probably going to get interest rate hikes now. But I thought that was pretty cool. For you people that, hey, on Profitly or don't know about Profitly, what that's about is this is the part of the web page, and you have other users that they can post, and you have your gurus posting. They post watch lists and videos, which are really cool. Learn a lot, actually. And you get individual stats for your own stuff. This is my profit chart on here. This is where I started back, whatever that date was, like February, March or so. And this is, you know, these are live trades pulled from your trading account. So you can't lie about this. You can, but you know when somebody's lying. You can look at their actual trades right here and check for a check mark. That means it's verified. Okay, and you can also put notes in with your stocks for your trades also. So get on there. I've got the penny stock quest going. You can check that out. If you want to start your own quest through Profitly, check out Penny Stock Quest and click on one of these links. I'm with Penny Stock and Silver. It's about $50 a month, and you get quite a bit from that. A lot of teaching. So that's how it went for me on Friday. Monday, I think we have a big wig coming to the office, so I might have to stay hidden for a while. I might not be able to trade till Tuesday, but got some college football coming up Saturday. Today, so gotta get ready for that. So it's game time. I gotta go. You guys be safe.